What's the deal with scams? Everyone at some point of their lives will be scammed, whether that be by an Native American. $24 for Manhattan Island, we could've got it cheaper. Maybe when you get into a fight with a dyscalculate cowboy. Okay, we shoot on 3. Ready? 1, 2... Ah! 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 That's the sound of him dying, by the way, if you were curious. Now, the main reason I'm making this video is because I have constantly called the scammers. I'm not gonna call the scam through no fault of my own actions. Fine, I'll call the scammers. Been targeted by scammers.
You've been upgraded to our new savings line.
Now, it may be because I constantly answer their calls to practice different voices, or because I love to enrich myself in other cultures. So this may be a blind leading the blind situation, but let's take a look at scams. We live in strange times. People keep constantly forcing Tiger Woods to drink and drive to try to emulate John Daly. Even stranger than that, scammers don't even try to scam me by offering me free stuff anymore. When I was a kid, I would constantly get advertisements for a brand new iPhone. All that was required was my social security number, and it'll probably be here in a few more weeks. You know, the classic US Postal Service, it probably got delayed. But instead of free money, do you know what they offer me instead? A job! The job market is so bad that they are attempting to scam me by offering me a job with payment that, quite frankly, is insulting. I may be Vietnamese, but you can't offer me Vietnamese pay. Even worse than that, though, I was rejected. They rejected me from a fake job. What kind of qualification did those other applicants have? They rejected me because I was below their minimum age required. They made me feel like a college girl trying to lie her way into a bar. At first, I thought this was the kindness of a scammer who didn't want to try to take advantage of a young lad. But then I realized I would have been too much work for them. Am I not worth the effort? They prefer to target those who fit the criteria of joining Congress. Here are how these scams work. First, in order to avoid the trial that has plagued scammers for years, their accent, they send you a text message under the name Tony Jones from Georgia. They never specify which Georgia. The message you receive will say that you have qualified for a job due to your resume being exceptional. Next, they'll tell you the details of the job, which will be very vague, such as paid vacation, how much, or the pay, which one person who messaged me said it would be anywhere in between $50 a day and $500 a day. Well, which one? That's a big difference. That's the difference between paying for gas and paying for gas in California. Still, this might be the most insulting scam ever because they don't even bother to message me personally. They put me in a group message with other people. Online love scams are far more common than women post-menopause would like to believe, which is great for me because one of my favorite pastimes is going into a thirst-trapping woman's post that says, "Say hi to receive spicy images in your DMs." Then I go into the comment section of these very mature teenagers to see a multitude of middle-aged men that all say, "Hello, beautiful." From here, I go to their page, and without fail, every single time, they will have their full legal name, a picture of them looking confused, which is odd because it's a selfie, and in their bio, husband, father of 3. Now, I understand retirement may be tricky, but she doesn't want you. She wants me. That's why I'm also in the comment section too. This leads them to signing up for their OnlyFans, where they pay to talk to them. But here's the big twist. They're not paying to talk to them. They're paying to talk to me, who's also getting paid. The best part of these scams is that the victims of them never fall for the text message scams because to them, it is more believable that a girl straight out of high school is like, yeah, Dave from Texas, who has to take Tums after every single one of his meals, that's the man for me. The ego of these old people, these old poor people amazes me because if you have money, this is probably not a scam, it's probably real. But women are just as bad because they fall in love with their scammers. They even marry them. Well, if they show up at the airport, that is. But it's not just old people. Lots of soldiers fall for this scam willingly. While many soldiers are deployed, they'll have what's called deployment wives. These are women from like Russia that you send money to and they will become your personal cam girls that will take off their clothes for you and say they're proud of you. Damn, Putin has some solid propaganda tactics. The funniest part is that 99% of these soldiers had wives at home, but to be fair, only one of the 2 women expressed gratitude when they received their whole paycheck. Now we get to the classic fake parking ticket or IRS message. These used to run rampant back in the early 2000s because people used to have ethics. When Grandma Susie got a letter in the mail that said she had outstanding parking tickets in Tennessee, she didn't say, "Well, that's odd, I've never been to Tennessee, but that's a 10 I see." No, she immediately went to pay it because that's the right thing to do. Nowadays, if you get one of these in the mail, you ask yourself one question. Do I ever plan to go to Tennessee? Because if not, I'm not paying it because they can only charge me if I go to Tennessee. The problem with the IRS scams is that there's so many of them, I always ignore them. So one day I'm gonna get a real message from them and I'm not gonna pay them. It's probably not gonna end well for me. Now the classic, the Nigerian prince scam. The way this scam worked was you would get an email from a Nigerian prince that was stuck in America and needed money to get back. And if you helped him, he would pay you back 20-fold. This makes sense because if I was a Nigerian prince, the first person I would email to get help from would be Timothy, the college student. Over time, this scam began to die down because people got suspicious by the amount of princes that were emailing people. Is everyone over there a prince like it's Saudi Arabia? Or maybe it's like knighting someone, where anyone can become a knight for the low price of $9.99 online. Speaking of scams, there's another one. In-person scams may be the scummiest thing a person can do because I could easily eat a cheeseburger, but I could never look into the eyes of the worker that made my McDonald's cheeseburger order. Poor! These scams are simple. They offer you a service or object and lie about the cost, sometimes even saying it's free. And when you hear that, you say, "Oh, what a bargain! I sure hope she's not a cop." After you receive their goods or services, then they'll charge you an absurd amount. This is an extremely effective scam for people with empathy, while everyone else can just ignore them and walk away. This happened to me once when I was in the damn Czech Republic. I wanted a funny toy animal that you throw at the ground and it splatters, but then it slowly regains its shape. So I took $20 worth of their currency and handed it to him, expecting my change back in a singular ball. But then he handed me the entire box and pretended not to speak English and walked away. I guess walking away is the solution for both parties. Finally, we have pyramid schemes, which has been around since the dawn of time. The first one being when someone said, "Bring me one limestone block," and then you get 2 other people to bring you 1 limestone block, and then everyone who does it gets buried here. Nobody was buried there. These work by charging someone a fee to join a group, and that money goes to the recruiter, and then the person who joined the group is now the recruiter, and then they must find 2 other people to join the group, and then they get money from both of them, so the person at the top made an increase in money. And I know what you're thinking, that sounds a lot like Jehovah's Witness or the Girl Scouts. Some companies try to do this, calling it multi-level marketing, such as Cutco, which was really big when I was in high school. Because high schoolers would do just about anything for money, they scammed them and made them into door-to-door salesmen selling overpriced knives, which, let's be honest, they really only sold it to their family. But it's not the high schoolers' fault. They were groomed into doing this since elementary school, where we had to go door to door and sell chocolate to get a pep rally. In conclusion, the first scam ever was the Trojan. Oh, not that one. 99% effective, my ass. Hello, Outro Lunar here. Click here to check out my Twitch channel where I stream every weekend. Click here to check out my most recent video. And click over here to check out the recommended video. Okay, goodbye.